NFL Week 1 games are released. I is the NFL like trying to subtly manipulate the Bears here with like the Week 1 prime time? Like, is it like, hey,
Oh yeah.
you guys really aren't gonna pump out Andy Dalton on prime time television on game 1? Are you real like really? Are you guys going to? Like now I feel like the Bears are like, oh crap, now we gotta start Justin Fields. Like he's gotta play in prime time. Like can you imagine how disappointing this primetime game is gonna be if Andy Dalton trots out there on the field? Like,
Oh
it's
yeah.
just like, what like, you have the whole, like, obviously, it's the Rams, so you have, the whole with, what's his name? The quarterback, why can't I think of his name?
Stafford.
Stafford. You have Matthew Stafford coming back, to face the Bears again after getting traded to a much better team now, and then, that's gonna happen where, you're suddenly just going to apparently acts like the Bears are gonna maybe start Justin Fields, and that's why this game's gonna be entertaining. Or are we just gonna trot Andy Dalton out, probably lose the game, and great, we're on primetime television losing a game with Andy Dalton as our quarterback. Like it's just it doesn't, it's one of those where I'm just like, I don't know what the NFL's doing. Like
It's
out of
well,
all the
it's actually a
games,
big brain move, right? Because if they lose and have Andy Dalton on the national stage, it's like, wow, they really should have them start Justin Fields. Which, guess what? The Bears have plenty more primetime games the rest of the season for him to still start. So it's like, hey, you could start him early and we could just be happy straight off the bat and we get our ratings either way. Or he could lose and then he could be started earlier. Or he wins and then the Bears are like, wow, he's going to be or Justin Fields is going to be really good on this team when they start. They just won a game with Andy Dalton. There's literally no way for them to lose, and I feel like that's why they picked that as the move.
well, the
Watch it
funny
gets
thing
flexed
is
mid-game. Yeah, exactly.
honestly, well, the funny thing about the game is that like um if you look at the regular season for the Bears, like the rest of the season games, we have the week 10 bye, which is like a perfect bye. It's literally 9 games after, like 9 games into the season, we have a bye, and then we have 8 weeks left of the season, which is like fantastic, right? And then dead center, get a nice break. And then after that, we have like two primetime games on Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football back to back from the Packers and um the Vikings. And so it's one of those where I'm like, okay, that was actually intelligent because you have the Packers and the Vikings later in the season, both obviously interdivision, rivals playing against against the Bears on primetime television. And at that point, you're assuming Justin Fields is starting. Unless Andy Dalton's doing really well, which in that case, then guess what? Andy Dalton's doing really well, and it's still a good primetime game. So, like, that was smart scheduling. But then putting them opening game, like, first day is just a weird, like, it's just odd. Like, why wouldn't you have chosen, like, like made the Jags play somebody and have Trevor Lawrence opening day, Sunday Night Football? Like, let's see the number one overall draft pick rookie everybody's been talking about for 3 years
Well,
play.
because the Jaguars are
Like,
still a
no.
bad team, though. They still went 1 and
Yeah, but
15.
you could put them against like you could do Jags Colts. Like, wouldn't you be entertained to watch like, oh, I want to see how Carson
No,
Wentz does with the Colts against the
no.
Jacksonville. Like I would. I'd be excited. I'd be like, oh, I want to see how Carson Wentz is going to be with the Colts, and I also want to see how freaking Trevor Lawrence is going to be with the Jags.
I mean, you could do that. I mean, I don't know what the scheduling. I remember the scheduling for like how they normally do it anyways. I'm not sure how that would work out, but like the thing with LA too is that they also want to flex their new stadium that they just never got to use, never got to put fans in. So that's like number one. I could see why they put the Rams there. So let's just assume the Rams are getting the Week 1 game regardless because of that. Like like just right out the gate.
Yeah.
So who do you put
Okay.
against them? I don't
Against
know
the
who's in
Rams.
their pool. Like the pool that they switch off of like division and then you play, whatever ranked division from last year or whatever. But I mean, the Bears obviously fell into there, and the NFC North is going to have to face the Rams division. Can't remember what it is exactly, but I think
With
of
the
the
Cardinals
available
fan in chat.
matchups. Yeah, exactly, Cardinals fan. And I think of the available matchups, that one probably made the most sense because again, Chicago's third biggest media market as well, with LA. So like, again, could see where they're coming from with that. But yeah, I agree. It's kind of weird, especially when you don't have like a bona fide starter star. Like if Justin Fields doesn't start, it's kind of like, yeah, it was good. But we're still gonna watch anyways. Really, that's what it comes down to. The Bears
Yeah.
fans are still gonna be crazy excited.
Yeah. Exactly. So I don't know. I just, it's one of those where I'm like, I'm gonna be like, I'm excited for the season, but I'm excited because obviously Justin Fields. Like, I could really care less about, um, I could really care less about Andy Dalton starting these games. Like, I know Andy Dalton's a bridge quarterback, so any success he has, like, I could care less. Like, he could bomb all, he if he plays 5 games, he could lose all 5. I could care less.
Yeah.
I really like. I'll be there to watch the games and see how everybody else does, but I'm going to care less until Justin Fields starts. The moment Justin Fields starts is when the season starts for us because that's like our future.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe the NFL is thinking that Justin Fields will win the job in training camp and off seasons, which he very well could, and then he ends up starting day one.
And that's a hell of a start against the Rams line. Like
Well, yeah,
that, what a
against
great test to see if like the whole Jenkins left tackle thing is going to work out, along with like Borum or Ifedi,
yeah,
anyone else.
but the other thing too is people are going to be a little like people are going to overblow that. Like like if Tevin Jenkins got beat on that game, let's say Tevin Jenkins like goes out and has like a bad game and gets beat a bunch. Like, what are you gonna say? Like, oh, he got beat by Aaron Donald in that
Yeah,
defensive
really.
line when he's a freaking rookie. Like, it's he's a rookie. He's not gonna be this. He's like, no offense to Tevin Jenkins, he's not Quentin Nelson. Quentin Nelson was a perennial All Pro the moment he stepped on the field. It's just especially left tackle position. It's very difficult to develop into left tackle position, and he's got a little bit of an uphill battle in the pass protection, anyways, as far as developing that way. So if Tevin Jenkins doesn't do well against them, I could care less. But I guarantee people are going to overblow that. That's why I'm like, I wish that we didn't have any primetime games the first like 8 games of the season, because we really need the first 8 games of the season to like transition to Justin Fields and then just have like everybody get experience and get timing and stuff like that. Like, that's why like I'm way more intrigued for the primetime games against the Vikings and Packers later in the season, because at that point the rookies have had time to develop in the offense. I'm assuming if Andy Dalton's Andy Dalton, which I think he's going to be, I'm assuming Justin Fields takes over by that point. So then obviously you're going to see it, him, and he's going to have the timing down with his receivers. So like those primetime games against the Packers and Vikings are going to be way more entertaining than this primetime game. So I don't. It's whatever. I'm obviously going to sit on the couch and watch it, but it's just I don't really